Have you ever met someone who is always so full of themselves, or someone who thinks that they are just better than anyone else? If you have met or you think that you are that kind of person, it may be related to a psychological term called narcissism. Hello and good day everyone, it's me Dini and welcome to the Psychology Talk podcast, a place where we will discuss about humans' minds, brains and behavior. Joining with me today is Amir Hakim, a fellow friend of mine since my foundation year, and he will be with us throughout this episode. So, Assalamualaikum and hi Amir, how are you?
Waalaikumsalam and hello Dini, I am doing absolutely fine tonight.
Okay, good. I mean, it has been a year or so since I last saw you, so what are you doing right now?
Yeah, it has been quite long. Nowadays, I am doing my degree in TESOL. I am in my third semester now.
TESOL. I see that your passion and love for the English language is still very strong, right?
Yes, it's quite strong. 8 semesters of just English. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I still have the passion in language, but I choose to do broadcasting. But yeah, anyways, as you can tell from the intro, the topic that we're going to discuss in this episode is about narcissism. If we look at the direct definition of narcissism on Google Dictionary, it is described as selfishness involving a sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration. Or in other words, if we see a person who is always very confident about themselves or someone who just does not really care about everyone else, people usually characterize them as the narcissist. Narcissism is based from a Greek mythology where there was once a beautiful and proud young man called Narcissus who fell in love with his own image or reflection in a pool of water. And because he was so obsessed with himself and couldn't leave the pool, he wasted away and died. And because of this story, narcissism has been considered as a negative trait from ancient history to modern times. And even now, some people still think that being narcissistic is bad. Amir, do you think that it's bad to be narcissistic?
Now, I don't think that being narcissistic is bad, but only when it comes to famous people. But if you're a normal person, like an everyday guy, I think being narcissistic is a bit, over your head kind of thing,
Yeah. Can you name any famous person that you know?
One of the more famous people who I believe are narcissistic are the famous YouTubers, the Paul brothers. I think you've heard of them, the Jake Paul and Logan Paul.
Yeah. Logan Paul.
You can see how you can see how narcissistic they are with how they act around people.
Yes, very. And also, I want to add a celebrity that I know, which is Kanye West. Do you remember when he interrupted Taylor Swift's speech during the 2009 Video Music Award?
Yes, I believe that's quite. You could say that if narcissistic was a person, that moment is like narcissism.
Yes, like Taylor was very young at that time.
Exactly.
I think she was 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Continuing, many of us demonstrate narcissistic characteristics over time, but for a few people who show it more often than the others, it may have a thing to do with what we call as the narcissistic personality disorder. And also, I want to remind you that imposing narcissistic traits is very different from narcissistic personality disorder, just like feeling depressed is not the same as depression. And these people, they're always very cautious with everything they think and do, and they may be very, very disappointed when they do not receive the admiration or attention that they think they deserve. I mean, what are the common traits that you have experienced yourself with narcissistic people?
Now, the most common I would say is basically overconfidence. You act like as if nothing else matters except yourself, and and your own feelings, like other people don't exist at all. Only you in this world,
Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes we have that kind of person in a group work who likes to control everything.
Yes. Exactly. Someone who's like, hey, we should follow my idea because, I think my idea is the best. They may not say it directly, but the way they word it out or how they act while doing work probably shows that only they themselves matter and they're the only one who has good ideas or anything.
Yeah, true. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So, as a conclusion, narcissism is just a way for us to characterize personalities so that we can understand each other's minds and behaviors better. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Amir. It has been a very fruitful and insightful, short but sweet sharing session on narcissism.
Thank you. Thank you as well, Dini, for having me. I am really honored to be here.
Alright, before we go, I just want to remind our listeners to always practice good hygiene, wear your mask, and practice social distancing. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode of Psychology Talk.